Welcome to the Get Good at Presenting podcast with Lee Jackson.
Welcome to Get Good at Presenting, the podcast. I am absolutely delighted today to have a good friend and a great speaker on to give you something that probably no one else will do, because I guarantee that this young gentleman will be very, very lively and will say some stuff that no one else says, and he does stuff that no one else does. So it is with my pleasure to introduce, as is known, Big Ian, or Big... how do you pronounce your second name? Donaghy? Donaghy?
Well, exactly. Right. The thing is, it should be Donaghy. But when the Irish lot came over to the northeast, they didn't want to be too Irish. So they changed it to Donaghy. So I've been a Donaghy all my life. And can I be honest, everyone just gets it wrong. So I just get Big Ian. Nobody forgets Big Ian. Nobody spells Big Ian. And that'll work for me.
And the website works as well. It's literally bigian.co.uk. So I'm chuffed to have Big Ian. We had a chat on the phone this morning and we looked at our diaries and we thought, why don't we just do a podcast this afternoon? Thought it'd be a bit of crack. And I haven't done one for a little while. And sometimes I do some serious stuff on this, and sometimes I just like to hear people's stories and always get some good tips, of course, about being a speaker and a presenter. Now, according to your website, Big Ian, it says that you do keynote presentations, which I've seen you do a couple of times. You do hosting of events and also training. But there's another side to you. There is a writer and a musician. Tell us a bit about that, Ian.
Well, I fell into writing in 1994 with me speaking. I was speaking at a conference, the UK Dementia Congress, and the guy who was running it was a publisher. And he said, if you can turn what you've just done in the last 40 minutes into a book, I will publish it tomorrow. So they did. Wow. So I wrote a little book called Dear Dementia, which is the same size as a Mr. Man book. And it's got daft little pictures and illustrations. It takes 35 minutes to read, and it made it onto the books on prescription list. A doctor can prescribe you to read this book. If you have a member
prescription.
Of your family, yeah.
Now, that is big news. You've got a book on prescription. That's amazing.
It's in every library. And so they recommend you, if you have a family member who's suddenly been diagnosed with dementia, for you to read this book. And there's 3 hospitals being designed using the illustrations and the wording of these. And it's really simple. And every page is a little letter to dementia. And it says, like on one page, 7 words, it just says, Dear Dementia, Nana forgets, so I remember. And that pretty much sums up every family member, every granddaughter, every grandson. And the whole idea was, I realized that I had a bit of a sort of, talent for sound bites and for getting, my meaning to words ratio was pretty good. And so I put it together and it's in every library. It's been translated into Welsh. Hey, get you. Because I was speaking at a conference, the Home Cymru conference in Wales, and they just went, we've got a problem with the Welsh-speaking community. How much would we have to pay you to translate that and print that in Welsh? I went, well, you've caught me on a good day. And I went, it'll cost you nought. I said, do us a favour, just send us a copy and stick it in every Welsh library. And they did. So I've got it in Welsh. It's been sold in 24 countries. And it's got Hilda Ogden's things from the mural that she used to have. But there is another story, and that is Hilda Ogden, Jean Alexander, used to live 2 doors down from me in my student house in York.
Never.
Yes, she did. And
that is exciting. For those that are internationals, you won't know, Coronation Street is the longest running soap opera in the world, I believe. And Hilda Ogden in the 70s and 80s was the number one character, really.
Iconic.
But she was really posh, wasn't she? But
Jean was really posh. Like unbelievable. And it kind of freaked me out a bit when I realized who she was. But yeah, so and it, can I be honest, it just made my mum so excited. Like my mum was so excited that I lived 2 doors down from Hilda. Then I wrote a book called The Missing Piece, which is all about how we cope with losing people and how to be a better friend. And this became a play last week in York, which was just beyond words. I can't even put into words how beautiful and important and gorgeous it was. It leapt from page to stage, and made me weak. Absolutely. So I wrote that, and then during lockdown, when all the ink fell out of my diary, and I realised, hold on, I'm not Big Ian speaker, Big Ian this and that. I was Big Ian gardener, Big Ian blooming whatever. Honestly, I'd know to do. My wife told me after writing this book, if I was to write another book, it would be called Divorce: How to Lose the Best Thing That Ever Happened to You. So the only way I could do it was by writing short stories. The kids said, Dad, you're not writing a book, are you? Because Mum will go spare. She'll go bonkers.
So let's just go a little bit deeper on that, Ian. Does that mean that you are difficult to live with when you're writing a book?
Well, you are. If you're writing a book, if you're writing an uplifting book about death, right, and it takes 3 years, yeah, I would say so. So I wrote this, but I wasn't allowed to say it was a book, right? The kids said, Dad, you just, if Mum asks, you're just doing some work in the garden, yeah? You're just doing some work. You're just doing a bit of stuff, yeah? Don't mention the word book, right? Because seriously, we like holidays and we like living together and we don't want to be shared and all that. and to be honest, the only reason me and Emma are together is because neither of us want custody of the children. So that's what I'm thinking. And imagine that courtroom battle. If they said, Mr. Donaghy, we would like you to have custody of your son and daughter. No, thanks, Your Honour. She can have them. And then go, no, I don't want them. He can have them. So that's why we're together. So I wrote this book, Pocket Full of Kindness. You've got one of these.
I have indeed.
And this is just a book that I just looked at my past to help me present and my future, really. And I realised I seem to have attracted some really cool people in my life. And do you know what? I just thought people have been really nice to me, and it's just lovely. And I put it all together. It took no writing whatsoever. And each of the stories lasts a cup of tea long, and it's sold absolutely loads. Loads of companies have bought it for their staff to show them they appreciate. Because in the front of the book is a thing that says who the book's for and the reason that you're gifting them the book. Okay. And it's to show somebody how much they matter. And I think, we need to do a bit more of this. Thank you. Don't cost much.
So just go back on the history there. So you ended up as a writer, but you wrote about dementia. Was that because of personal experience? Did you become an expert in dementia? Or?
Well, no. Well, what happened was I was a teacher for 18 years. Yeah. And I was a bouncer initially. So I was like 28 stone. Right. I was once 400 pounds, and I'm now like 16 stone 3.
You were once 400 pounds.
Oh yeah.
So the word, so the nickname Big Ian comes from the fact that you were once 400 pounds.
Yeah, 28.
Because you're tall. Because you're tall as well, right?
Yeah, but I tell you, I'm not tall enough for 400 pounds, mate. So basically, I had like a 62 chest. There was lots of me. I filled the door, and of course I've got a band, the 9-piece band. And when I was big, I thought, well, I might as well lean into it. So the band's called Huge. So I've got a 9-piece band called Huge that I've had since I was 19 years old, and I'm now not 19. I've had it for 32 years, and gigging this weekend, gigging nice. 3 times in February, gigging all the time, and it's great. So I fell into writing because of the teaching. I did learning disability stuff. I worked for the Home Office. I taught unteachable students, as they were called. And I got a lot of valuable stories, a lot of valuable experience. And then I was speaking at a conference about how education had got it wrong. And now, do you know what? The kids today are doing the same exams as my dad did in 1952. And they've changed it a letter. I went, they're still doing the same things. And they're still doing the same things now. Education is all about hammering round pegs into square holes. And we need to think. Like Jimmy Carr said something recently, and I enjoyed Jimmy Carr's book. I got a lot of warmth from it. And he said, everyone's trying to get, kids from being a D student at physics to being a C student at physics. Well, do you know what? The world don't need somebody who's not very good at physics. But if you're really good at writing, let's get somebody and focus on that. So why don't we just find out what kids are good at and then do that? Because you only need to be good at one thing. I'm only good at one thing, right? I'm not a bad storyteller, right? And that's all I do. That's all I did as a teacher. I would turn stories into maths lessons. I would turn algebra into, hey, I've lost some numbers. Who's going to help us find them, right? Whereas the teacher next door was doing algebra, and that's hard. Whereas Mr. D next door going, he's lost some numbers. Can you help him find them? Oh, yeah, we'll help you, sir. Right. And so that was the deal. So that's all I kind of do. And you've only got to be good at one thing. And, you know, I'm a chauffeur who tells stories and makes people feel better. And it's the same when I'm singing with the band and the bits in between the songs, I make people laugh and I make them feel better and I give them a good night. When I'm talking and when I'm giving a keynote, see, everybody kind of has me down as a funny guy, and I am a funny guy. But the thing that makes me different, I think, I make people cry every day. And
right.
It's really odd.
So let me just clarify. So as a speaker, so you've got lots of speakers listening to this. Are you making people cry deliberately? Are you making them cry for a reason? Why is that part of what you do? And I've seen it in action. I've seen people laugh and cry. It's real. But how did you suddenly, the guy who sings a few covers in a band, how did you find out you were making people cry? What was that transition?
Well, can I be honest? When you tell a story, if a story's got something good about it, it's either going to make you laugh, make you cry, or make you think. If anyone was to pick their favourite songs, very few people will pick Walking on Sunshine or The Power of Love, Huey Lewis and the News. You tend to go for something with a minor key that actually gets to your heart and matters and hurts you a bit. So because of a lot of the things that I do, things like dementia, I work with older people and people die and all this sort of thing. And the thing is, comedy and tragedy share similar borders, and people cry whether they're laughing out loud or whether they're in bits. Yeah. And do you know what? If I want to get a message across and I want to create a change in somebody, I've got to get in the door one way or the other. And one way is I'm going to make them laugh. And if I make them laugh, I'm in there. And if I make them cry, I've got to them. And if I make them think. So, for instance, this play, we did this play last week. And, it was beautiful. But the starting pistol went off when the curtain came down, because that was when people started talking to the person next to them and talking about people who they've lost and how people were greater than them and the things that they struggle with. So I see my work as a starting pistol, not a finish line. And that's it. I want people to leave and not say, oh, that was very good, blah, 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 the end. No, I want them to leave and say, there you go, the start. Yeah.
My dad was a vicar, and in York, in fact, probably know that, in Clifton.
Really? I lived in Clifton. I never knew that.
Just off Clifton Green, yeah. So that big church, that big Saxon church, that was a long time ago. But my dad was a real preacher, and he really wanted to change people's lives. And I guess the thing that he would probably hate is when they go, nice sermon, vicar. That kind of that shaking hands with two fingers, but he's like, well, no, how has it changed your life? How has what I've said changed your life? And that's what you're trying to do, isn't it? That you're trying to, you are the ultimate kind of make a difference, the mad MAD, make a difference kind of guy, really, aren't you? Because you want to move people, don't you?
It's funny you should say this. At the play last week, I was on the door.
You're bouncing again.
I was on the door. Yeah, evening, lads. But I was on the door making sure everybody was welcomed, okay? Yeah. I was then inside the auditorium shifting the raffle tickets, right, for the charities that we're doing it for. I was selling the raffle tickets, right? The bloke who wrote the play, shifting the raffle tickets. I then announced who won it, and then as they left, right, I was signing books and shaking everybody's hands. I don't care about this. I was sanitizing myself, whatever. And then just saying, thank you very much. Lovely to see you. Right? Because I wanted people to know how appreciated they were at the beginning, in the middle, and throughout. And that's what I wanted to do. Because I could do that, right? In that theatre, I could do that. And I wanted people to know. And at half time, I needed the people behind the stage. I said, how good are these, lot, eh? Come on, half-time report. How good are they? And a massive big round of applause. I said, can you hear that back there? That's how good you are. Do us a favour, get some oranges down, yeah? See you in the second half. Have a rub down. And there you what I did was, that was a really serious play, right, about loss. And in the middle, I just wanted to remind people, do you know what? We're still here. We've still got 100% survival record, and we're here together. Let's enjoy being together. And that was the idea. And so I kind of wanted to influence the thing in the bits where the lights weren't on.
Wow. So I think it's fair to say you're a big character, Ian. Not as big as you used to be. You're half the man that you used to be, right?
Twice the man, half the size.
Yeah. But a theatre in York is a fairly formal environment, right? And you've gone in there and you've done raffle tickets and then you've called it half time instead of the interval. So you've kind of you've made people feel comfortable. You've made them feel relaxed. I saw you at the Brand Yorkshire business conference, and all business conferences they can be pretty serious, can't they? You know, there was people in there talking about how to do LinkedIn, people in there how to have a sales strategy. You know, there was some pretty serious talks and some that are not particularly exciting because that's business conferences, right? But you came in there, I think it's fair to say you kind of grabbed them by the throat and people were dead excited to see you. So do you think one of your gifts is to break down the formality of stuff?
Yeah, I don't think let's not take what we do seriously, but let's not take ourselves too seriously. The problem is there's too many people think they're something. Right? There's too many, seriously, right? I am not joking. LinkedIn I find fantastic because I'm just one of life's watchers. I just like watching things. And honestly, hey, seriously, if you want to do well on LinkedIn, right, I want to be a smoke and mirrors salesman because I could sell 50% of all my stock smoke, the other half mirrors, and you'd be laughing. Honestly, there's some people who come on, think that they're the Wizard of Oz and they're a little man behind a curtain. Well, I claim to be nout, so I can't under-deliver because I am a bloke in a phone. And do you know what, Lee? I am. I'm just a bloke in a phone, right? That's it. I've got no office. I've got no team. I've got no PA. It's me. So if somebody wants to negotiate a deal with me, get on. You know, we'll negotiate it. And they say, how much will it be for that? I went, how much do you think? What's it worth to you? And that's it. And they go, but you're a terrible businessman. I went, yeah, there you go. And then they come back again and again and again. I am a dreadful businessman, right? But I'm doing all right. I'm having a lot of fun. I only work with people who I like. And it's well known I only work with people who I like. I've turned down big money to work with clowns. Okay, right? And, you know, I once walked out of a meeting for a lot of money and I said, I don't want to work with you because I don't want to align myself with you because your values aren't my values. And the way I see it is I need to make sure that everything I think, everything I say, and everything I do overlap perfectly. And that's why I've got credibility. I've had people say, can you endorse this product? Can you do this? We'll give you this much money. And I go, no, if your product's great, I'll tell people it's great. If it's rubbish, I'll tell them it's rubbish. But I'll do both for now. Because I want that objectivity. In the world of care, which is the big area where I speak, and my ideas are used all over the world. And you know what? a lot of people listen to the stuff that I come out with and they get behind it. Like I've got people like the head of the NMC, Andrea Sutcliffe, loves my work. People at the CQC love my work. People in Australia are using some films that I've made to interview care staff instead of an interview. So they play one of my films, Lost and Found, and they play the first bit and they say, right, play it and say, put that right. And that's their interview. Now, how cool is that?
This is quite deep, I guess. And we'll come to some presentation tips in a few minutes, but some people might try to manufacture what you've done. But, you know, you're a 6'2" bloke from Geordieland, you know, from the northeast of England. You know, have you manufactured this stuff, or do you think it's your passion and stuff? Because, you know, you've obviously had a big influence, but you sound to me like you haven't really tried to do that.
No, it's just actually accidentally happened. I had one other film I made with some 8-year-olds, and for a laugh, one day I thought, I wonder if I could. I said, I made a film with my iPhone with some 8-year-olds and some 80-year-olds called I Ain't Got Me Mum. You can find it on YouTube. And for a laugh, it was coming up to Dementia Awareness Week. I got onto a few cinemas. I said, I've got a film. I've made it with some kids. There's a film called Guardians of the Galaxy from Marvel. You couldn't use this trailer, could you? I don't want any money. Can you tell me a reason why you wouldn't use this as a trailer? And they went, we can't tell you a reason. I said, right, can we do it then? And they went, yes. And then went on that, and I was on Look North and everything with these kids, and we made a film, and it was used as a trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy. We did it with a budget of nought, and it was lovely. And it's been used all over the world at conferences, online, you name it.
Wow.
You know, it's very easy to do things now. We've got the technology now to do things. So I just do it. So there's nought I do that's manufactured. All it is I've got a lot of ideas, and I will work my behind off to turn them into stuff.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say you've probably downplayed a little bit because you're a hard worker, Ian, right? You know, you don't mess around. You know, you're the kind of guy that's going for it. You know, you're either gigging or speaking or whatever. So you're certainly putting the effort in.
I sometimes get told off by a bloke in Leeds who says, "Are you taking it steady? Are you making time? Are you taking it steady?" And can I be honest? Sometimes I'm not. So maybe I sometimes need to listen to that elder statesman of speakers in Leeds.
Well, I get concerned about people. I want people to be here for the long term. You know. That's important stuff, isn't it?
Well, that's why I do me walking every day. I am now walking about 10 miles a day. And doing all my calls, I do a walking office instead of being sat on my lazy behind. And it's the most important thing I do every day. Yeah. It's the most important thing I do every day.
So you found that it makes your mind a bit fresher and is that rain or shine? Are you out there in the
rain or shine? Yeah. Oh God, definitely. Yeah. I wrap up. Yeah. I'm in shorts every day.
Shorts?
Every day. Hey, only lad.
Wow.
Never out of them.
There we go.
Never out of them. Yes, walking in shorts every day.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if your body's warm, your legs aren't cold. And I've got legs that used to carry around 28 stone 8. So believe me, they're strong enough legs. So yeah. And I find the walking, I sleep better. I eat better. Honestly, it's a game changing. I would say to everybody, scrap your office and just walk. Do everything on your phone. You can do your emails on your phone. You can do everything on your phone. Just get out and walk every day. And I'll tell you what, game changer. Total game changer.
So let me get down to some of the speaking craft things, right? Let me get down. You obviously get people engaged. I would say you probably don't do what a normal business type speaker would do. You work in all the different sectors, public, private, voluntary sector.
Yep.
How do you approach? So someone says to you, Ian, we've got this conference. So call it an NHS conference. We've got an NHS conference coming up. There's 500 people in the audience. You know, let's hope that we get back to that pretty soon. There's 500 people in the audience. You've got an hour. How would you approach that talk?
Right. What I would say is, what do you want? What do you want? You write down, you tell me what you want. What are the key messages you want to get across? Yeah. I used to ask, what job do they all do? And I kind of got out of that because I'm not really bothered what position you play so long as you kick in the same way. And I hope that you're all wanting the same things. Yeah. And if you're not wanting all the same things, then we've got a problem, because then people are all about, fashioning something to who somebody is as opposed to how somebody is. And I'm all about the other. So I would find out exactly what they want. I would think about the tone. But can I be honest? I don't really need to think too much about the tone, because if they're bringing me in, they know why they're bringing me in.
Right, okay.
So it's really quite nice, because people who bring me in don't want me to be someone else. They want me to be me. Yeah. They don't want somebody to turn up with the same old blooming memory stick and change 2 words, right? And then have it so it looks like it's for the care sector, right? Or, change a slide and make it look like something else. No, it looks like I've made it for them. And I get in there early as well, and I find out from the people, and I say, well, what are you expecting from this bloke today? Right? And I never give away who I am. And then they tell us, and then I incorporate that, and I say, so how's things going at the moment? What are you struggling with? And then I get that. And can I be honest? It's the trick that people used to do was mediums, where they used to go in the pub before and say, Margaret, so why are you here? And say, oh, I'm here because I've lost my mum. What was your mum called? Oh, my mum was called Dorothy. Oh, Dorothy. And I'm getting a D. And I'm getting a D. No, Dorothy. And that's exactly the same thing. I'm a charlatan medium, only I'm a charlatan extra large.
Are you saying that those mediums in working men's clubs were not real?
Honestly, and it's even easier now because you can see who's bought the tickets, and you can just go on Facebook and everything and just say, "Oh, I'm getting March the 12th." And of course, March the 12th, there you go, on your
That's
memory.
my birthday.
That's my birthday. And what about Dexter? What about Dexter, the red setter? How can you possibly know? It's dead easy, and you'll see it's not that. And so I kind of do that, and you get talking to people.
So you meet people beforehand, you talk to them, you make those connections, and then because you must have standard stuff that you do, but you've got to wrap it up in a different package, right? Because you have content, don't you? I have content.
I have content. I've lots of, but I've got lots of different stuff.
Right.
You know, like there's certain people out there that say, "Oh, you can only have one keynote. You can only do that sort of thing." No, I'm not buying that, right? And you know, I don't mind arguing with those people because that's not being a speaker. That's having a talk. And I'd rather be a speaker. And people bring me in and say, right, like for instance, I spoke at a suicide prevention thing. I've never done anything like that before. I had a good think about it. All right. I've watched back that talk. I wrote that at 5 a.m. I had it all going around in my head. And this is what happens when I'm coming up to a talk. I've got it all there. It's like it's like wasps just spinning around. And you think, right, and I trust myself. And it was the same when I was a teacher. All my assemblies were really, I had killer assemblies. Like you went anyway. and seriously, I would think, right, what am I doing today? What am I doing today? And then it would always something would happen. It would always go. And I always used to say to my dad, I said, "Dad, why do I leave it? Why do I do this?" And he went, "Because you can, and because you know you." And another thing, I don't plan out timings, right? But my timings are always bang on, and I don't know why, right? But they haven't not been, so I'm not going to change anything. I can do. I did a 6-hour session on dementia awareness down in Beaconsfield in January, where I was actually in the same room and in the same church and in the opposite the same care home where Afterlife was filmed.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I was in the graveyard and in the church hall where all the things were and everything.
On the bench and all that.
On the bench. Well, the bench isn't there. They brought the bench.
Oh, I see. Right.
They brought the bench. Yeah. Because I was looking for the bench as well. But it was lovely. And even though I had 6.5 hours to fill, right? Right. I always say, right, what time were we meant to finish? I went 3:30. I went 3:29. Take the rest of the day off. You've been mint. Right. And and it always happens. And it's just a fluke. I don't know whether it's just something that's just, you know, some people can just skateboard, they can just balance. You know, some people can ski. I can't do any of that. And some people can dance, and some people are moving their feet and going 1, 2, 3, 4. And I don't know. I'm maybe just lucky that way. And it came from teaching. You would start a new skill. You say, how long are these lessons? And you just go, right, in that case, I'm a 40-minute lesson guy. So I've got my topper, I've got my tailor, I've got the bits in between to make sure all that. I don't know. It's just years and years of teaching. And it works. And
because we've talked on the podcast a lot, because my background in education as well. I was a youth worker or schools worker attached to schools. And I'm quite a stickler for time. And I think it's because in 1994, all I did was school assemblies. And when the bell went, they would leave the hall, right? They're not going to wait for me because I'm not good enough or famous enough to wait for me. In fact, if the Queen turned up, when the bell went, they still go to the lessons. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was always like definitely a stickler for ending and the key for things, if the bell went, then you had one line. So you could, so don't forget. And you had that one line and then boom, they were out of the room. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's being in schools that makes us good at timing, you know?
Well, I think it is. Do you know what makes me laugh? See, my son and my daughter, they get asked by the mates, what does your dad do? It's not really. Can be honest, I was at
How old are your kids now?
Our Bill's 15. He plays basketball for York Eagles, who I think you'll find are top of the league and a machine. They're like a pack of wolves.
Well, they are, mate, because I know. I was playing with one of the guys last night from York Eagles. So,
well, I tell you what, they're a hell of an outfit. And my daughter's at East 15. She's at drama school just outside of London, and she's 18. And they were asked, so what's your dad do, right? And our Annie described it, she went, he does really, really good assemblies. No, that's pretty much what he does. He kind of does that. And so, yeah, with the films I make and all the other stuff, the only reason I got into films, was because I was using my films I wanted someone else to tell the story as part of my talks. But rather than me tell a story about George, I said, so tell you what, don't hear it from me. This is George. And then George would come on a screen and tell his little bit, and it would be really, and would have another dimension. And in that time, I'm watching the audience. And I'm seeing that, there's two shows going on here. So I always watch the audience and I see the thing. And then I see what's getting to them, see what's making it. And it's a beautiful thing. And then I've also got a bit of time for the next bit. And so I use a lot of film and stuff. And it's lovely. So I don't really use slides a lot. I use little bits of film. And it adds something very different, a very different dimension to it. And I love it. And it works.
It's great. If it's working, fantastic. So when people come up to you and they say, I want to be a speaker, a presenter, I want to do something like you do, what's the kind of advice that you normally give them, Ian?
Don't do something like I do. Do something like you do.
Yeah, be yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. What's so good about you? What can you bring? What difference can you make? And I would just say, don't tell stories about yourself. You know what I mean? Don't just go on about yourself. Go on about them. I turn up with stories that tell people how great they are because they might not realize it. And that's what I do. I go there to tell them that they're amazing because I think they might have not noticed. And that's it. And that's what people bring us in for. I spot the things in people that they can't see in themselves. And then I celebrate it and it feels lovely. And I meet really cool people who don't go on about... See, when I was in education, teachers did two things. They said how great they were and how terrible the kids were. Wow. And in care, that's not what happens. They talk all about the people who they care for and they don't realise just how invaluable they are. And that's why it's a joy. And that's why the stories make people cry, because I just said, you know what, you need... Right? And I do stuff that... During the lockdown, and I did this thing on Zoom. I did loads of it. And I said, close your eyes. And I said, imagine I'm your dad. Imagine I'm your dad. And I'm out with me mates. And they say, what does your Susan do? And you say, well, our Susan does dialysis for kids and older people.
Yeah.
You go and see her 3 times a week and she knows them inside out and she keeps them alive. I said, you think that you do dialysis? You think you do something with a machine and kidneys? I said, you do something that keeps people alive and makes them smile and they're happy to see you and everything. I said, and without you, they're not there. I went, you need to wake up and realize this. And it's all about showing people that. And you know what? Yes, people get a bit emotional about this because all that happens is I just shine a light on them because they're too busy being amazing to get a torch out. So they need me to go, excuse me, can I just check that you're amazing? Oh, you appear to be amazing.
But a lot of speakers are often there to sell their services. They're often there to sell their book or want to get booked again. So they would really struggle with that. A lot of speakers end up, because I think the worst talks you ever hear, and I've probably talked about some previous episodes, the worst talks you ever hear are the ones that are me. And I've seen 2 or 3 pop to mind. One in particular pops to mind, and it always makes me shudder because it was the most boring thing in the world. Just a list of things, you know what I mean? So, it's the way that you flip it around to people, I think, is really important. My wife's just been on the video there. My wife's just knocking on the door.
Yeah, she has, yeah. She was just thinking, I'm sure she was looking in saying, goodness me, I wish my husband looked more like that man from the Northeast.
Exactly.
If only I'd have gone for a taller version from a bit further north.
No, we've got so much in common, haven't we? Both from the Northeast.
Yes. Both from the Northeast.
In education, both like basketball.
Yes, and both like old school hip hop. And,
both being in bands.
Yeah.
So, you're giving us some good stuff here. This is a good one. It's going on for a little while, but you're the storyteller, Ian. So I need you to give me 3 or 4 of your stories, because you've got some cracking stories about bouncing, about when you've been in the band. When my phone rings and it says Big Ian on my phone, I don't usually let it ring through to answer phone. I usually go, I'm answering that because I'll have a bit of crack. You know what I mean?
Right.
So come on, tell us your favourite story. Speaking,
it's really hard. It's right. Right. I'll tell you one from when I was dormant that was brutal. Well, actually, it was after the dormant. I got asked to run the very first karaoke night in York.
Wow.
Right. And it was a Tuesday night, and I landed the best deal. I was a 20-year-old student trained to be a school teacher, and I didn't want to do karaoke. I hated the idea because I like live music. But I came up with a deal. I said, right, pay me a minimum of this much a night, but I want 10% of your bar. In the biggest bar in York. And at 20, they gave me on a Tuesday night 10% of the bar. So some nights, and this is 1990, I would leave there with like 400 quid in my pocket. Ridiculous. Yeah. And so anyway, I was doing this, and you used to get all the squaddies in from Fulford, right?
Okay.
And I was this big lad there, and I had the microphone. Everyone was looking at me. I couldn't hide. And it used to get rammed on a Tuesday night, rammed. And there was this big, ugly lad. God, he was ugly, right? Like, seriously, always be wary of picking a fight with somebody who's really handsome because they've never been hit, or somebody who's really ugly because they've got naught to lose. And so this guy was like, he was massive. He was certainly about 6'7", and he had all his mates with him. So they were like a pack. And he was giving it the proper wild eyes, right? Proper wild eyes, as if to say, yeah, I want to. And I thought, this ain't going to.
Oh dear.
I thought there's 9 of them, and there's 1 of me, and there's a couple of doormen on here. I thought, this is going to be a mess. And this guy's giving it proper wild eyes and really like, who does he think he is? And like, who do I think I was? I was the bloke who was entertaining the room, right? Having to sing, Secret Lover with some absolute nightmare lass who just wanted to do a duet and went, oh, Big Ian, can I do a song with you? Oh, yeah, we'll do all these lovely duets. I've had the time of my life. Well, I'm not really. And so he's like, and so he's giving,
islands in the stream.
Oh God, don't even go there. Seriously. Anyway, so he's giving us these wild eyes, and I'm genuinely worried. And then I thought, how am I going to do this? And so he's there with his mates, and they're all geeing him up. And I looked straight in this guy who was 6'7", straight in his eyes. And there's his mates all by the side. And I just went. At which point, when he saw that I'd mouthed the words, looking straight down his tubes, I love you. He grabbed his beer, slurped his beer down, quick, come on, lads, let's go. It's blooming rubbish in here. And they all shot off. The thing is, he wanted to get his hands on me, right, as a trophy. But I'll tell you what, he wasn't mad keen on thinking that I might have wanted to have a little cuddle with him. And him and his mates had just got into the thing that really frightened him most. And it really did frighten him. And they all shot off. And that is why my face has all these features in the original postcode and not, I don't look like a Picasso. So there you go.
So a lot of your work is like improvising, right? You do a lot of preparation. I know that. You've talked to me about that. But you also are really good in the moment, aren't you? You absolutely wing it really well.
Well,
and that's an idea that you were in a tough situation, and you decided to go and say something that probably other people wouldn't have thought about. So that's proper improvisation, isn't it? That really.
Right. Well, if you want to know another one, this is from when I was working for the Home Office. Right. I was working for the Home Office, and I had these unteachable kids, as they were called, and I got them in a room. I said, right.
Was this like a special school or
no? This was
a unit or something.
This was a unit within a school. They were going to put us the other side of the yard facing away from the school and call that inclusion. I went, you're not doing that. I said, I want to be in the middle of the quad. I want to be next to the library. I want to have all of my kids, all of their work displayed on those. Do me a favor, take down those things from a school trip from 4 years ago that's on the biscuity sort of sugar paper. Let's do all that. Let's get the kids' work from that week. And so I used to do displays and everything. And I was told they were my kids. They're yours, right? They were called a cohort. A cohort, like you call kids a cohort. And I said, right, I got them in. I said, everyone thinks that we're just ticking a box here. They think this is a bin and they think you are fit for the bin.
Wow.
And I said, I was about we piss them lot off and show them what you're about. I said, I'll put in the work if you will. So we did this thing based around pride, which was PRIDE. And so we called this, and it was the thing where you had to be prompt. Okay, I'll get in on time, you'll get in on time. If you get in early, you can have tea and biscuits with me on the morning. And we can have, we'll do it. So all these kids with school refusers coming in early and saying, I've got kettle on, sir. So they'd be there before me.
All right.
Right. And it was all about which was respect. I'll respect you, you respect me. Okay, you treat me nice, you're going to get a lovely me. Your behaviour is like a remote control. If you want a horror show, just you push the wrong buttons and I'll be a horror show, or I'll be lovely. I was all about improve, right? D was discuss your problems early, right? Catch the snowball at the top of the mountain before it destroys the village at the bottom. And then E was all about enjoy. And we did that, and it was a real sweet thing. So I had a lad, and it all had gone a bit wrong. He'd been away. His mum and dad had split up. It was all a bit wrong. And he came in, and he'd had a weekend of drinking, of drugs, of online pornography, and online gambling. And he was a mess. And he came into school, and he wanted to fight, and he wanted to go and fight the head teacher. And he met with me. And I always said that if the kids got in the way, wanted to go, let him run. But this time he was going to go, and he was going to smack their head. And I said, come in my room, Bonner. And he was like, he had a vein popping out of his head.
Right.
Right. Like he was proper. Right. I said, I'm going out. I said, you're not gonna. And I moved myself in front of the door. His head was against mine and his chest was against mine. Now, he was about 18 stone at the time and rock hard, right? Yeah. Proper hard lad. And I was, I don't know, 20 odd stone. But I suddenly thought, my career is going to disappear today. Because I thought, this is going to go wrong. I don't know what to do here. So anyway, and he was really angry. And he went, get out my way. And I went, I can't get out my way because you're going to do that. I can't get out. Do the phone. And I don't know, you say in the moment you find someone. Yeah. I looked straight in his eyes and I went, is it me? Is it me, Bonnie lad? Because if I'm the reason you feel like you feel today, give me all of this now. We'll do this. We'll end up hurt. It'll be a mess. But if I've done this to you, I deserve what you want to give me now. So tell me, Bonnie lad, I've known you since you were 12. You're 16 now. The deal was I was going to keep you in school. Is it me? And my heart was going like, I can't even begin to tell you. Okay. And I thought, what do I do here? I'm going to have a fight here with a 16-year-old lad. And it's going to look bad. It's going to be my career in tatters. And he just collapsed on the floor in tears.
Wow.
And he went, nah, it ain't you. And he just cried and cried and cried. And what I did was I walked across with me back to him. I walked like towards the window as if to pick something up. And all I was doing was holding back the tears because I thought, Christ, man, I'd just cry. I was welling up like I don't want to know. And I suddenly thought, oh, and he says, I said, I couldn't let you do it, man. I said, it's my job to keep you in school. I couldn't let you do it. And he went, wait, I'm going to get kicked out now because I've squared up to you. And I did the most unprofessional thing I've ever done. I got a pen out of my pocket. And I went, yeah. Sometimes you just can't find a pen. And I threw a pen across the room. So I couldn't write a report. So I couldn't get him kicked out of school because I realised it wasn't his fault what he's been through that weekend. His mum and dad had broken up. It was horrendous. He didn't know what to do. He was an only child. He was all over the place. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to keep you in school till the end. So I threw my pen away. And I got him home and he avoided the head and he stayed in school till his last day at school. And I was invited to his wedding. And he gave me grey hair when I was 31. So there you go. So I've had some gritty jobs, gritty jobs, but I've always tried to be fair with the kids. See, I like kids and didn't like teachers. I found teachers quite hard work, to be honest, and I did, and so that was the idea. So I would always fight for the kids, and I now fight for older people, and I fight for people who maybe don't have a voice, and I just give my voice to somebody else's to give my hand. And it feels lovely. And it means I do loads of stuff that I do voluntarily, and it means the stuff that I get paid for, I get nicely paid for. So I rob from the rich to give to the poor. And it's all right.
Very good. Very good.
In terms of top tips, right? The bits I get paid for are the bits when I'm not talking. That's when all my magic happens, right? I get paid for being a speaker, but the bits that I really make the impact are the bits where I shut up and I just leave it there. And I let them fill it with their thoughts and their opinions and how it makes them feel. And that is the bit that people bring me in for. Not the talking. Anyone can talk. It's a case of leaving that room for their own thoughts and everything. And the thing is, I adore what I do. I've seen loads of speakers who turn up and they go, right, it's like pressing play. It's like they've turned up with a tape player and pressed play, right? And, you know, and you just think, really? And you just think, oh, yeah, we saw them do that talk, so-and-so. Yeah. And so what was different about it? Well, the postcode, right? And I just think, you know, I want people to really show that it matters. And it does matter because I am leading a life that some consider a myth. I get to meet really cool people, do really cool things. It's just beautiful. And I will never retire. I've got mates who are clambering to retirement. Why would I want to retire?
Yeah,
I haven't got a proper job, right? And I'm doing what I do for now. Yeah. You know, I make films, I write stories, and I talk to people who are cool and are lovely people. Well, why I do that for now? Don't tell anybody, though, because I do quite like him.
I don't. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't think I believe in retirement.
Nah, because if the shark stops swimming, he hits the bottom. Like my dad retired at 60, right? And then then everyone found out he was retiring and went, Charlie's really, really useful. And he started running all of the football leagues, all of the darts leagues, all the snooker leagues from the time to the tees. And he did everything right until he was 80, till he had like a stroke at 80. And then he had to stop. And that's when it all went wrong. It all went wrong when he stopped. And when he was busy, he was like, you know, right into his late 70s, he was a young bloke and like really out there, and everybody would you know, go to him and stuff. And that's the key. You know, there are helpers and those are helped. And I'm one of the helpers, and I like helping people. And it feels.
It says on your website that you're a doer. That's what you say.
I am. As somebody once wrote, once wrote on a thing, Big Ian, get done. And I do. I get stuff done. And there's enough people talking a good game. There's enough people thinking they've got great ideas. Great ideas are no good in your head. Great ideas, right, are only great when they become things and when they start impacting on other people. And that's what I do. I do every day, and it's what I do, and I absolutely blooming love it.
So, to finish, I found this today. I've been preparing a talk for today. A talk on worry, actually, worry and anxiety that I'm talking about, and how we need to understand it for what it is and everything. And when you're doing research for a talk and you're looking at loads of things and you're reading tons of stuff, like it takes 2-3 days or more to prepare a 30-minute talk. So I'm at the research. I'm coming into land now with it. And I came across this, and then having to speak to you, I think this sums it up really well. Socrates said, I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think.
I'll go with that. See, when I was in the Home Office, the whole idea was, they said, can you make the kids behave? I went, no. I can make them want to behave. I can make them interested enough that they just think, well, to be honest, I'm not going to misbehave because I'm too busy doing something that's quite interesting and quite cool that bloke's put loads of effort in. And that's the thinking. So I think you bang on. And as for worry, people think, that we're confident people because we talk, but effortless takes loads of effort. And I certainly, anything I ever do publicly, I play it over again and again and again. I don't do this rehearsing stuff. I don't do it. To be honest, all of you top PSA type speakers will probably hate everything I say, and that's fair enough with that. But I don't care, and I don't care as well about that. I just do what works for me. So I don't do the rehearsal thing. But what I do is when I lie in bed on a night, or I'm in the car, or when I'm out walking, I see it. I play it out. Play it out, and then I change things, and then I play it out again. I change things. I think, right, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? How could I make that better? And it's quite a nice way because it means nobody's got to listen to you because it's just playing in my own little theatre. And it works really well. So as with things with Night to Remember, as with me talks, as with me plays, as with all this sort of thing, I've already watched it by the time it's on. So by the time it's on, I hope it's pretty damn good because I'm almost sick of it, and that's what works. But I have to say this, though, at the end of this little podcast, I'll say this. Your book, Get Good Presenting, is mint. I think it's a really, really, really good book. It's a reminder to people who think they know what they're on about, and it's a really good first place to go for people who don't know what they're on about. I think it's really easy to read. I think it's get your highlighter pen out, and I think it's you sit down and you read it in one go, and I think it's very easy digestible. I think it's great. Another thing, Lee, I think you're really, really generous with other speakers, and I think you're not me. I think you, and it's really cool for me and for other guys to be able to just pick up the phone and say, like, Lee, I don't get this bit. I don't get this technology because I've not used it before. I don't do this. Right? Can I be honest? I'm winging it. But having guys like yourself, it really is a real nice thing. And I think the speaking world could do with a few more Lee Jacksons and a few less insert name here. And that's what I think. So there you go. And I don't care if I'm being controversial because it's true. Because the thing is, you back it up. You don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk, Bonilla. Thank you.
Just to clarify for the listeners, I didn't pay him to say that, and I'm a little bit embarrassed, but very kind of you, and I'll go and have a little sob now. So thank you very much, Ian. It is fantastic to hear from you. Big Ian, tell people where you can get hold of your information.
If you go to my website, bigian.co.uk, I've got 3 books for sale on there just because my children need shoes. And you can find me on LinkedIn, which is where I pretty much reside, Big Ian Donaghy, Donaghy. But if you type in Big Ian, you'll just get me. And as I say, my band are called Huge. That I started when I was 19, and we play theatres and stuff. So if you go to hugepartyband.co.uk, we're now to look at, but we sound all right. And Justin Timberlake's got up and sang with us, so we can't be that bad. So there you go.
Wow.
As you do. And Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon as well.
Jimmy Fallon got up, and I tell you what, once he got up, he couldn't get down. We had him up for about 6 numbers. Honestly,
he's not shy, is he, that lad?
Oh my Lord! And I tell you what, he's a talent. He is an absolute talent, is that lad? So yeah, he was. We played a chateau in Toulouse. We did a do for what do you call it? Cameron Diaz. It was her best friend's wedding, and we got booked as the band. How cool is that? It don't happen every weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've done some working men's clubs in the north.
No, we're playing Bishop Thorpe Social Club for 50th this weekend, and I don't think Drew Barrymore's at that one.
No, but that's very good, very good. It's a pleasure, Big Ian. I will chat to you again soon. Listeners can find you on bigian.co.uk, and thank you for your time and for your good stories and advice, mate. All the best. Thank you.
Top man, bless you.
Thanks for listening to the Get Good at Presenting podcast with your host, Lee Jackson. If you'd like to know more about Lee's work as a motivational keynote speaker and presentation coach, visit his website at leejackson.biz. That's leejackson.biz.